To me, what this decade is about is coming to terms with what I call the unintended empire. I go back to December 31st, 1991, a critical date, in which the last European power collapsed. For the first time in almost 500 years, not a single European power was global and deep, possessing political, military, economic power, and able to project it anywhere. For the first time since Columbus, no one in Europe could do that. The United States, in a way, was the last man standing in a bar fight. It had extraordinary power. It had no idea what to do with it. For the first 10 years, it didn't even think of itself that way. It simply was, and life was easy. And Frank Fukuyama wrote of the end of history, and it was what I call the giddy springtime of the bourgeoisie. You know, it's a small world after all, and Citibank can invest anywhere it wants. And Citibank did, didn't it? But underneath that, there were serious problems, which we discovered on September 11th, 2001. And the next decade was entirely about an obsessive war against terrorism and in the Islamic world. Not a frivolous war, but not necessarily the most well-thought-out war. So we went from a vision of universal peace from Kant to a vision of the long war, and we were spun and whipped about because we had the worst of both worlds. We were enormously powerful, and we had no conception of how to manage that power. And therefore, events controlled us. We didn't control events. To summarize why I think of the United States as an empire, it's to begin, almost 25% of all economic activity in the world takes place in the United States. The United States accounts for just under 25% of the world's gross domestic product. That is an extraordinary number, especially when you consider that this is a decline from 50%. And the Great American Decline has reduced us only to this size. And this means that virtually anything we do economically affects someone else.